Hello everyone, this is Gene from NYC and I'm back with another video. As you may be able to figure out from this is going to be another Mortal Kombat video. I'm just going to come out and say it. This is a full out rant. This is just me going off the top of my head and basically just ranting. I know that I'm always kind of ranting, but I at least try to have a deeper purpose to my videos and have an idea that I'm trying to explore. Here, I'm just frustrated and I need to vent, and at least some of y'all are willing to listen to me. So, this is just going to be a rant. Before I start said rant, I just want to formally, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess formally acknowledge the 2 new subscribers I have gained. Unfortunately, YouTube won't tell me your names, but whoever you are, thank you for subscribing. I'm happy to have you. I hope that you continue to enjoy the content. Now, the rant. I'm ranting about Mk11 Princess Kitana. Several things bother me about this new version of Kitana from a visual design perspective. I'm going to start with the most obvious thing. They race-lifted her. They race-lifted Princess Kitana. Now she's Asian. She has never before in any of the games, whether it be in the original series or even in the reboot, has she ever appeared Asian. There has never been anything about Adenians being Asian. Now all of a sudden she's Asian. And what's really bugging me is that there are, because I've been on a few videos of watching, seeing what's happening, because even though I have no interest in the game as a player, I do have an interest in it from the viewpoint of an old school fan and from a character design perspective. And there's been the huge controversy, maybe not huge, but the controversy over the costumes and why NetherRealm toned them down and this, that, and the other. And you've seen my videos on it. You've probably seen my comments on several videos, in particular Sugar Punch Designs videos that he's done on it, or Abi of that channel, or ABI has done on it, and of course Liana K's videos. She's done several videos on it. I have commented on each one about what my thoughts are, so I have by no means been silent about my views on it. But this is not really about the costumes per se. This is about the character design and how it's being arbitrarily changed, and it frustrates me. Kitana's entire look in this game bugs me. And I'm going to explain why. First, she's been race-lifted for no reason. Okay, in MK2 to MK Trilogy, she appeared white. I'm going to say appeared because she's not an actual human being in the games, right? She's Adenian. Adenians are very different, right? It's like when people say Superman is white. It's like technically the term doesn't really apply because he's an alien, but we all understand what people say, right? He's white-looking. He appears white, although technically it's not a term you can really apply to him because he's not even human. But anyway, she was white-looking in Mortal Kombat 2 to MK Trilogy because the same actress played her over and over and over. And then in MK4, to the end of the series pretty much, she had a vaguely Latina look because her face for those games was based on Talisa Soto, who had, of course, played Kitana in the cult classic 1995 film. So I understood that. That was fine. Now she's been race lifted to look Asian. In particular, I guess I would say Chinese. She doesn't really look Japanese. She looks more Chinese. And it's just, and here's what bugs me about it the most, the way people are responding. Right, whenever someone points out, like myself or someone else, points out that Kitana's never been Asian, there are people in the comments attacking them. I've been attacked, right? Attacking them, saying that, a true fan knows that Kitana was always intended to be Asian. I'm like, no, she wasn't. She wasn't. There are Asian elements to her character and her costume, right? The whole, kunoichi thing, being a ninja, basically being an assassin, using bladed fans. That's uniquely Oriental. You are not really going to find a a equivalent weapon in the Americas or in Europe. That is a very distinctly Chinese, Japanese thing. The bladed war fan. It's distinctly feminine and distinctly Asian, and that's fine. I have no issue with that. There's always been distinctly Asian elements to the character. I admit that. Her name, Kitana, sounds very close to katana, which is, of course, the Japanese samurai sword. But just because there are Asian elements to the character, in particular Japanese, I would say, does not mean the character themselves is Japanese, right? This is like when they race flipped Jade in the 1997 Mortal Kombat film, in my opinion, because, well, her name is Jade, right? And Jade is green, and people associate Jade with Asia and China. That does not mean the character themselves is Asian. Okay, just because there are some cultural associations does not mean the character themselves is from that culture. Do you know anything about creativity? So, this race lift looks terribly arbitrary to me. And there's no in-lore reason for it, from what I can tell. There's not even, again, like a movie tie-in. Like, if there had been, like a popular TV show or movie where the actress playing Kitana had been Asian and then they changed the look to match her, that I could understand. That's tying into another version of Mortal Kombat, you could say. Like with the film, right? She ended up looking Latina in MK4 to the end of the series, or having a vaguely Latina look. I would say her look was actually kind of like a mix, but leaning a little more toward Latina, because they had based her face off of Talisa Soto, who played her in the film, and the film was popular among the fans. To fans, Talisa Soto is the movie version of Princess Kitana. That made sense. There was a connection here. There is no connection here, and I've seen some people in the comments going, well, there's no Asian women in Mortal Kombat. I'm like, Li Mei! Did you ever play Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance or Deception? Li flippin' Mei! I can't stand it when people try to flex and they don't know what in the world they're talking about. I don't mean simply expressing an opinion that I disagree with. I mean factually wrong. When you say something like, there has never been an Asian woman in the Mortal Kombat games, and I can immediately recall Li Mei, you are wrong. You are objectively wrong. There's at least one. You want to say that there should be more? Fine. Okay. There's a possible argument for that, especially considering the high amount of Asian men in the series. But don't say that, oh, this is okay because there was never an Asian woman in the Mortal Kombat games. Step the flip off with that nonsense. I am sorry. But that just ticks me off to the highest when people try to flex and don't know what in the world, objectively speaking, they are talking about. This is like saying, oh, there are no black characters in Mortal Kombat. Oh, really? Jax, his daughter Jackie, Jade, hell, even Cyrax. I don't know why they made Cyrax black when they decided to go from constantly malfunctioning robot to human, but they did. It's like, don't insult my intelligence is basically it. Don't insult my intelligence. So that's the first thing. And I want to be clear. I have nothing against the idea of an Asian Adinian character or more Asian women in the game. My principal concern is make cool characters that are interesting visually and interesting from a narrative perspective, and I'm a happy woman, okay? I'm not saying having an Asian Adinian character is wrong. I'm saying don't take a character that has an established appearance and randomly flip it and then try to gaslight people who remember what she used to look like and are wondering, why did she change so drastically? And then a bunch of people in the comments try to shame you because you're asking a pretty damned obvious question. Why does she look like that? I can't stand that type of behavior. That is true gatekeeping. Okay? Cred checking somebody when they're obviously wrong, in my opinion, is not gatekeeping. Shaming people for asking a question that is relevant to me, that is gatekeeping, because you are trying to make them feel bad so they won't speak up. That's the type of thing that gets under my skin and pisses me off so damn hard. Okay? And I want to be clear, if they took Lou and randomly race flipped him and made him white or anything else but Asian, I'd be mad. If they took Johnny or Sonya or any other white character and randomly flipped them, I'd be mad too, right? I've always thought, for example, that Kenshi should actually look a little more Asian because his entire character is Asian. He comes from an Asian land. The whole thing is that he's the Japanese blind swordsman. Yeah, he should be Asian. Everything about him is Asian. Or like, Sub-Zero. I have no issue with this version of Sub-Zero being very Asian. Not even mixed, which technically he is supposed to be. He's supposed to be, him and Noob Saibot are supposed to be half Chinese, half American. This version of Sub-Zero doesn't look mixed in the least. He looks distinctly Asian. I have no issue with that because, one, there's at least a lore justification for it. Right, that he's half Asian. It could just be that the Asian half, his father's genes are just very strong and just express themselves strongly. It's not impossible for someone who is mixed to look more like one parent or to look more like one race than the other. And in MK2, he was played by an Asian actor. That was pretty obvious, whether he was in the mask or whether he wasn't. It was pretty obvious, and he was unmasked in a way in MK2 with the arcade ending when they show his face. He would not be unmasked in the games proper until MK3, which is of course my personal favorite version of Sub-Zero. But still, my point is that I don't mind an Asian character where it makes sense. Sub-Zero is half Asian, so he looks Asian. That's okay. We have Li Mei. That's fine too. I would love to actually see NetherRealm do something with her character than just have her play the fool. Plus, if you're gonna make Kitana Asian now, you have to make Melina, if she appears in this game, Asian because she's the clone, and I would assume you have to rework Sindel's appearance now because Kitana is her daughter, right? So unless we are saying that King Gerard is Asian, which he may be, but we've never seen him. The only parent we've ever actually seen is Sindel. So she's the one I would think you have to adjust because she's the only one that we can go, okay. First of all, I've always thought they should look more alike for mother and daughter, but that's just me. But it's like if you're going to do that, you have to change her too. So you're actually changing 3 characters, not just one, with the look alone. So there's that. Then there's the costume. It just doesn't look like Kitana, right? It's fine as a design, and I want to say, as a complete look, right? Asian woman in a blue and black costume with fans. I think it's a fine appearance, right? And maybe if this were 1992 all over again, and this was the first time I see the character, I would think it's fine, but it's not. Again, it's not that it's a bad look in and of itself. It's that Kitana has an established appearance, and this is not it. And I think, honestly, just from a visual design perspective, the race lifting element aside, I think the actual costume is just not all that visually interesting. And it isn't about sexuality or sex appeal or anything of that sort. It just doesn't really stand out. Right? Now, say what you will about the costumes back in MK2. Yeah, those weren't exactly the most creative things. Right? But I actually think the best version was actually the costumes that they got in Trilogy and Ultimate 3. But this costume, I'm like, man, it's a costume. I don't know. To me, it doesn't really stand out. Right? It's totally subjective opinion. To me, it just doesn't really say princess. There is nothing really regal about it. At the very least, as the series went on, right, barring MK9, as the series went on, they actually did add more elements to Kitana's costumes, even when they would do redesigns of certain looks, like the look from Mortal Kombat 3. Trilogy. in Ultimate 3. They would add more elements to the costume, whether it was her hair or whatever, to make her look more regal, right? And here, I'm not really seeing that. I will admit, though, I think the voice actress is good for the character. I just wish that she knew how to pronounce Gerard's name properly. Because there's this intro where Kitana is facing D'Vorah. These are the videos that I keep seeing. And she asked D'Vorah if she killed Gerard. The problem is she does not say Gerard, right? She says Jared. I'm like, I honestly asked someone in the comments in one video, I'm like, did she say Jarek, as in Kano's henchman, or Gerard, as in her father? The person's like, oh, it's Gerard. I'm like, okay, because she's not saying Gerard. She's saying Jared or Jarek, which confuses me. Enunciate. The guy's name is Gerard, King Gerard. Say it properly, especially when you have a character in the games like Jarek. So, yeah. So that irritated me. I think the voice actress is good. I like the venom in her voice when she says that, when Kitana says that she's going to make D'Vorah pay for their deaths. Though I'm surprised that Kitana, at least in the intro, from what I saw, didn't notice that D'Vorah didn't actually admit to killing the king. All she says is something to the effect of, this one has killed many in the service of Shao Kahn, or something to that effect. It's not actually answering the question. But maybe there's a storyline reason for Kitana not picking that up. So I think I've ranted enough about the costume change and the race lift. Now, here's the second thing that really irks me about this new take on Kitana. Now, I'm speaking from a purely visual perspective, and I'll admit it could be a what's the word I'm looking for? A storyline thing. But in this new intro for Kitana, she is carried in on a blue throne, carried in by several males. I'm assuming soldiers or guards or whatever, who then bow. Right? They put the throne down and they kneel. Here's the problem I have with that. That's a perfectly fine intro for a sort of, evil royal character like, say, Mileena, who really should be in this game. I don't know how in the world you can have Kitana but not have Mileena. From my perspective, from a thematic standpoint, you need both. It's like having a Mortal Kombat game that has Scorpion but not Sub-Zero. You don't have a Mortal Kombat game if you don't have those two, and in my opinion, you have to have Mileena. I know that there are some saying that maybe she hasn't been included because for some reason Kitana has a special move where her hand glows a kind of like purplish pink, and she draws one of Mileena's size. And I will admit, I am not totally familiar with the reboot storyline, so maybe Mileena's dead or something. Like deaths ever mattered in a Mortal Kombat game, it never sticks. But anyhow, I disagree. If it's true that they don't have Mileena in the game, I disagree strongly with that from a thematic storytelling point of view. You need the two. They balance each other out. Mileena is quite literally the dark, twisted clone version of Kitana. That's the purpose that she plays from a narrative perspective. Kitana's very, regal and elegant. Mileena's raunchy. Kitana is a good leader and a peacemaker. Mileena cannot lead for anything and makes war. Kitana, even as a dark princess, dark queen type character, has a healthy relationship with Liu based on respect. Mileena has a very toxic, you use me, I use you type of relationship with Baraka. She is literally meant to be the dark reflection of Kitana. You cannot tell, sorry about that. In my estimation, you cannot tell Kitana's story properly without having Mileena. You don't always need Sindel. Sindel wasn't in MK2, she wasn't in MK4. You don't always need her, but you certainly need Melina to complete the story. It's like peanut butter and jelly. You need both to have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, right? If you have one without the other, it's just why do I keep tilting? I keep tilting. Sorry. If you don't have one or the other, it's incomplete. That's my feeling. But anyway, back to the intro. I've never seen Kitana as a, carry me in, Jesus Christ, as a carry me in on my throne and bow to me type of royal character. Not even as a dark princess like she's been in the reboot, right? Being a revenant and everything. She never came across as that to me. She was always presented more, especially once she gets out of Khan's control. She always seemed more like, kind of like the warrior queen, the war general type of, stand at the front, walk in front of the troops type of leader. And so it actually bugs me to see her carried in on a throne. I could see Melina doing that. I could certainly see Tanya, however you want to say it, because her whole thing is that she's a schemer, right? I could see her doing that. I could even see Rant doing that because he's an arrogant SOB, right? So it would be an expression of his ego to have his, loyal servants carry him in on a throne. But Kitana, she's never been like that. And again, I can't even imagine that even as a dark, twisted version of herself, that she would do such a thing. I think that her intro should be somewhat similar to Sonya's. You know how Sonya's intro in Mk11 has her leading a bunch of soldiers, who have their guns drawn at the ready, and she kind of has to put up a hand and tell them to stand down. I wish Kitana's intro for this game was closer to that. Having a bunch of soldiers, walking in formation behind her. Maybe you could have a thing where she puts up a hand and they all do a salute or they kneel and then they leave or something, that would highlight their respect for her and her leading them, in this fight, instead of again, a bunch of guys carrying a woman on a throne. It's not bad in and of itself. It's just I just don't think it fits a character like Kitana, who's sort of defined by the fact that she's a rebel and she's always leading people forward, leading the resistance forward. You don't lead from the throne. You lead, at least from the narrative that the games have always sort of had, right? You don't lead from the throne. You lead on the battlefield. But that's just me. So anyway, that's my rant. I think I covered everything I wanted to say. The race lift, the costume in general, and the throne thing. So, yeah, like I said, it's no super deep insights. It's just me ranting. So, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have any opinions, you disagree, somewhere in the middle, somewhere totally left, right, up, down, center, let me know. I hope you enjoyed this video. I should be making a comic review soon of Captain Marvel issue 4. I've read it. I just need to get the files together to make the review. Oh dear God, did that issue insult me? But anyway, hope you all have a good weekend. Wherever you are and whatever you're doing, stay safe and have fun. Have a good weekend. Bye.